Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another production of the Cross-Platform Baseball League. My name is Dwayne, and tonight we're bringing you a weekly roundup, and joining me once again in the booth, it is league veteran, good friend of mine, Ox. How you doing, Mr. Ox?
Hey, what's up, Dwayne? Here we are again for yet another roundup, and I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely, and yet another roundup indeed. We're going over the Week 3 action here from XBL Season 12 in the AA, AAA, and the XBL. If you didn't already know that, we had an action-packed set of a bunch of games were played yesterday. Huge Saturday in all three leagues, which was great to see from everybody. And we're getting a little ahead of schedule with our weekly roundup on Sunday night tonight. So we got our plays in order and some matchups to go over. And then we have the round robins for AA and AAA because they're going to wrap up in a couple weeks. So we got some perspective looks at that. So without further ado, let's hop in, starting with the AA rankings. Moving right here.
Great job, guys, getting some games in, and Wishbone, it is about time to start the playoff mustache.
Playoff stash indeed. Yeah, it's definitely something we rock around here in the XBL. Weaver has a nice one that he tends to sport, and Ox gonna bring that one back too. Maybe I'll rock mine this season. We'll have to see how that turns out.
Yeah, everybody get on the old playoff stash train.
Hell yeah! All right. We got AA rankings starting out here with Saribuka. We don't have a ton of movement here in any of the rankings really, because we were just with you guys on, I believe, Tuesday night. So we're going to be a little bit briefer before we get into the round robins. But Starbuca is still looking for that first win in AA, still 0-8. Took a couple tough losses to your Nazgul 9.
Yeah, Storybuko, he's still looking for that first W here in AA, but Scratch and Sniffs, he's got a great team name, great logo, and he's got a great attitude, so I know he's going to be jumping on some. He's going to sneak up on somebody here soon, and yeah, just got to keep on battling.
Yeah, hopefully something to build on there. Shout out to Wishbone adding the standings to the live rankings graphics this week as well. Something that's added a ton to the interface we have here with all of the offensive, defensive information, you know, weekly games played and all that. So shout out to Wishbone again as we move up the board to ranks 10, 11, and 12 here in the AA. Still no movement from the Black Roses and Snowbirds, Sea Monsters, headed by Captain Bruisin and Joey and his Teamsters, who had a quiet week.
Yeah, not a lot of movement. Like you said, all three leagues this week, you're not going to see a crazy amount of shifting in the standings or the rankings just because, you know, like we mentioned, there was a lot of action this weekend, which you love to see, but not a lot of, you know, crazy mix-up as far as wins and losses go. And, you know, all three of these players still looking to get some wins rolling as we get closer to that round robin, which we will take a look at here in a little bit.
Yeah, huge scrap in the AA as we move up to rank 7, 8, and 8 as we have a tie here at 8/9 at L7 and Comedy Baseball, who are both a little bit behind on games. No games last week from Dad Slush and L7, so we'll have to see what happens for him this week. Fresh Poet, really strong on the offensive front, really needs to tighten up the pitching, so more games from him will be really interesting. And it's Azrael and the Saints leading the pack here that have had a strong 5-5 record if you've paid attention to the box score, scoring a ton of runs in the games that they do win.
Yeah, big shout out to Azrael, man. He's already made a big improvement over the course of this young season. And like you said, Comedy Baseball doing a great job scoring some runs here, but giving up a ton as well. Azrael actually swept Comedy Baseball. And then, as you see, got the split against the Black Roses. Snow's been a veteran in the XBL for a long time now. So for Azrael, the rookie, to come in and get a win off her was a big W and a big sweep. So, after the slow start, Azrael coming on strong.
Yeah, it's a player that's definitely looking to push into the top half round robin in the AA, guaranteeing, a quarterfinal berth. That'll be really interesting to follow going forward. As we move on up here to ranks 4, 5, and 6, no movement as well from these players, all respectively playing one series, 2 of which against the Black Roses, and then Rick played, I'm not sure which ISM is off the top of my head, but a sweep for Rick this week, a sweep for Ben Mack and the Razorbacks, and a split for the Hudson Softies. So everybody kind of standing pat here in the middle.
Yeah, nice job. All three of these players very strong. Especially on the offensive side, they're scoring a lot of runs and very dangerous players indeed. I'm actually playing Rick here tomorrow night, or a couple nights away, so I'm excited for that one. And as you mentioned, we're doing the roundup on Sunday night this week because we're doing the match of the week tomorrow night. So definitely try to tune in for that one if you guys can.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always fun here when we're packing in all the programming action here in the XBL channel, matches of the week, weekly roundup, then another match of the week, then we're switching days. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to do and it's fun to follow. So always something, especially in the heart of the season here. Let's check out 1, 2, and 3. Oh, go ahead, Ox.
Oh, no, I was just building, kind of transitioning into this last frame here for the AA rankings. As you see, not any movement for the top 6 players. I believe everybody's standing pat here. And yeah, just not a lot of movement either way.
Yeah, all 3 of these players looking pretty much locked into the first half round robin as far as the math goes. I'm sure just a couple games away from all of them for being in there. But either way, we're going to see every one of these teams take one more crack at each other too to fight for that seeding. So it'll be interesting as we move into this AA round robin playoff graphic here. We'll put it up on the board for you guys. And as it stands right now, the 6 teams on your left would be automatically into the quarterfinals, and they each have to play each other one time in their group for the seeding. And then the players in Group B will each have to play each other one time, fighting for the final 2 spots in the quarterfinal. And then up to 4 or 5 teams are going to get eliminated depending on how many finish in either league. So really, really awesome format we have here this season.
Yeah, and shout out to the new guy, Joey, and his Teamsters for the idea of this round robin format. I'm really excited about it for the AA and the AAA because, everybody still makes the playoffs, but now, there becomes a real incentive to actually make the top 6 and win regular season games. But also, you get a chance to play yourself into the bracket if you don't have as strong of a regular season as you hope to. So, a really cool initiation into this league, these round robin brackets. And guys, as you see on your screen right now, big upset if it plays out this way to see Azrael in that 6th spot over Ben McKnighteen, the Razorbacks on the outside looking in, Dwayne.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see through the amount of games played right now. Both those players definitely, in the middle of the pack. So as they finish out a few of these series, things might even out differently. But like you said, as it stands right now, hugely surprising to see the Saints over the Razorbacks, who in their only AA season, which was season 10, I believe, were extremely impressive on the offensive front. And we saw it already this season as well from Ben. Huge offensive numbers. So, if things shake out as they are right now, yeah, that would be huge in the AA.
Yeah, and like you said, Ben had a great season in the AA the last time he was with us. So that would be really surprising if he did finish in the bottom half of the AA. But again, all those guys on the right side of your screen would have plenty of opportunities to play themselves into the final bracket, for the playoffs that you'll see get played out. And really excited to, see how all this plays out and to get things going as we wrap it up here. We only got a couple weeks left in the AA season.
Yeah, games are going to be coming in pretty quick for everybody, and all of a sudden we're going to be right at the business end of things. So really, really exciting in the AA and AAA. So let's move over to the AAA and check out their power rankings, and before we get into their round robin as well. So also lots of good content here on this weekly roundup for you guys as we check out teams 13 and 14 in the AAA. A dip for Mystery Man, who was swept on Match of the Week last week and then took a tough sweep as well to the Base Bandits. He's at last place this week, but that's something he's just going to take and build on, knowing him and his work ethic. So Mystery Man just off to a really rough start this season, and Heisman and his Stars at 13 like they were last week, but packed in the games yesterday and got a few pretty strong wins. A split versus No Name, a split in there versus Black Coffee, a split versus Bald Justice, and then taking a sweep to Big George. He definitely got the work in yesterday and got his fair share of wins.
Yeah, he did, absolutely, and it's good to see Heisman getting some W's there as he got off to a bit of a slow start, but definitely piled up some W's quickly there over the weekend, and much deserved, I guess not technically a jump in the rankings, but Mist did slide behind him there into that last place spot. As as you mentioned, it's been a tough start for the Mist, but he's doing the old rope-a-dope, much like Eli Jesus. You're going to see them off to a slow start to start the season, but come round robin time, come playoff time, those guys are going to be as tough as anybody to get out for 9 innings.
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't be surprised to see either of these teams, nipping anyone for one of those coveted 2 spots in the bottom half round robin, should they be there come the end of things. So we'll be definitely having our eyes on that going down the road as we look at ranks 10, 11, and 12. We have a rank tie at 9th, the Golden Doodles and Deck. A slow week got swept by the Foxes. They're at number 9. Just a big shot for him coming up from what would have been his first season in the AA, decided late going to AAA and up here ranked in the top 10. So doing good for him. And then at rank 11 and 12, we see Bald Justice and the Purple Pumas where they were last week. Both these players with 4 wins apiece, looking to find their feet still, but playing a lot of close games respectively. I think we mention that almost every time we bring both of them up. Look, you can tell the runs scored and the runs allowed. It's all between, in that almost 3 and then 4.5 range. And that means you're playing close games in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. Both guys scoring just about 3 runs a game and giving up 4 runs a game. So they're literally averaging a 1-run loss every game, just about. And that's tough to see because, you really feel for him playing those close games. But Ball Justice and the Pumas, respectively, both playing a strong season so far, taking some heartbreaking losses. But as a new guy in this league, all three players new guys, um, there's definitely a bit of a learning curve. The regular season's almost as much about information gathering as it is, about playing the games. So I think when you see the playoffs come into town, these three are going to be revamped and ready to go with, prior knowledge of playing everybody in the league. And a big shout out to Deck, like you said, the double A, the self move up. Feel free to make fun of me all you guys want, and hats off to Deck for that move right there. And hope he keeps balling out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's put the number 2 strength of schedule right now as well, looking at 4 and 10. So well-deserved ranking for him. And like you said, all these players going to have another crack at everybody in the round robin. And now that we've decided the round robins are going to be one game versus each team in the pool, it's just a bit of more do or die. And, these players are going to be out to get theirs. So AAA is going to be really interesting as we keep sliding up here to 7-8 and seeing who's tied with Deck at 9th. It's the Hikers, who have moved up from 10, took a big split versus Eduardo, I believe, yesterday, or the day before, got that game in. Quiet week from the Femme Fatales was on vacation. Chronicle is looking to get back in action this week. And then we saw Dark Raiders sweep on Match of the Week last week against Mystery Man. Well-deserved rank number 7 from rank 8 last week.
Yeah, Dark Raider, definitely one of the most active newer guys in this league. You love to see all that, participation and success he's having so far. And Chronicle is basically just dropping slowly in the ranks due to inactivity. We know he's been on vacation, so surely going to see some more W's out of them. Those 2 losses, by the way, both to Deck, very impressive. And like you said, the Hikers coming in at the number 1 strength of schedule, starting to put together some W's, so good job by D-Sil taking out Eduardo this week.
Yeah, anytime you're sitting there with the number 1 strength of schedule and you've got 6 wins on the board, you probably should be feeling pretty good at the record he stands at right now. So good for D-Sil. After winning that most improved, I believe, was it last season in the AAA? He's got 1 under his belt. He's just been working hard at
correct.
honing that game.
Yeah, the AA champion last year coming in started off really slow and ended up finishing at 500. So he had a really, really strong rookie season in the AAA and trying to build on it here as we move on into rankings 4, 5, and 6 this week.
Yeah, the base Bandits up there at 9 and 3, got some games in late, and 3 and 1 there, looking pretty strong. Moves up to a deserved rank number 4. Tezzy inactive as well. Looking to get games in this week, so get scheduled with Tezzy if you're in the AAA. He's sitting there at 6 and 2, and he looks strong early. Let's see if he can keep that up. I mean, he's got a lot of competition all around him that we've already talked about and are going to continue to talk about as we slide up. And then following Tezzy, it's going to be the Unholy Milkman, still at rank number 6. A quiet week splitting with Eduardo, but a strong 9 and 7, like we always talk about in the early season roundups when Yeezus wasn't doing so well. He's bound to bounce back. He's bound to reach 500 again, and here he is at 9 and 7, looking pretty good for the second half of the AAA season.
Yeah, already up above 500, so pretty much on his normal pace there as we've seen in seasons prior. And thank you for the correction there, Wishbone. He said D-Sil was the Rookie of the Year, not Most Improved. No Name, we saw them lose a game to Heisman, so that was a big win for Heisman. But other than that, taking care of business against the Mist and holding serve there. He moves up a spot due to some inactivity there by Tezzy. As we're going to go on to our top 3 here, I think Eduardo coming in there at number 3.
Yeah, looking pretty strong at 12 and 4. The Sirloins in his, I believe, 4th AAA season now, ready to really compete, and he's up there with the big dogs. But as you see, we have a tie at rank number 1 this week in the AAA. Pretty surprising here to see Big George in his rookie season, who's just been dominant at a nice 13 and 1. Tied there with the Foxes, Blue Panther at 15 and 2, who's looked as strong as ever. And yesterday, really ramped up in the action and just got his fair share of wins, really piled on.
Yeah, as you see that the top two guys, as you noted, they're now tied for first. It's interesting to point out both of them giving up. Look at those runs allowed per nine, doing a great job on the mound,
Mm-hmm.
as well as at the dish. They're doing a good job of scoring runs, but nothing insane. They're to me, it's really eye popping to see somebody give up less than 3 runs a game. That's tough to do, and excuse me, a really good job by Panther and George alike of keeping opponents off the board.
Yeah, for sure. They're just really, really putting themselves in the Von Asen conversation. If we're getting into playoff talk, we might as well get into maybe a little bit of award talk as well. And these two putting themselves in the conversation along with No Name, who we just passed over at rank number 4. All three of these players with batting averages against below 300, and No Name and Panther respectively both below like 245. So those
Wow.
players really pitching to a different level this season in the AAA, and we'll see if that pays off for them come playoff time. That's really what can make or break a team.
Yeah, and that's something where guys who have been in this league, especially multiple seasons, you're definitely they know how to pitch other players, and that there's a certain way to pitch to have success. But Big George, the newcomer to this league, holding his own on the mound as good as anybody. And like you said, is certainly in there the Von Asen conversation.
Yeah, 5 home runs allowed through 14 games. That's an absolutely insane .4 per 9. So we'll see if he can keep that up as maybe he beefs up that strength of schedule and then plays some of those other players among the top. It's going to be interesting how that shakes out. Let's get over to the round robin in AAA, see how it looks as it stands right now. If things were to end today, obviously we're a couple weeks out from the end of it. But in the top half of the round robin right now, we got the Foxes, Night Owls, Sirloins, Base Bandits, Heavy Hitters, and Milkmen. And in the bottom half, we have Rocket, Femme Fatales, Hikers, Golden Doodles, Purple Pumas, Stars, Ball Justice, and Mist. What pops out at you here, Ox, about the way this stands right now?
Well, I think the first thing you'd have to notice is the defending runner-up, Femme Fatales, if the season ended today, would be on the outside looking in, fighting for an actual playoff spot. So that would be something certainly crazy to see if the defending last year's runner-up, Femme Fatales, didn't make the top 6. I would be quite surprised. But this AAA field, it's certainly strong, and at the same time, wouldn't be that surprised.
Yeah, no, that is definitely something that really pops out initially. Another thing is, that just the strength of that top like 6, really, as it stands right now, in the top 4 especially. All those players in the mix, any one of them could be a 1 seed, I would say, in this league, and the way the quarterfinals shake out for all of them is going to be, I think, important, because in AAA, more than anything, it's going to be playing matchups for certain players who really know what their strengths and weaknesses may be.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and it's definitely going to come down to like the matchup type of play because, like I just mentioned, No Name lost a game to Heisman over the weekend, who is in the bottom 3 on your screen. But at the same time, whoever those two teams on the right side of the screen come out into the top 8 for the actual playoffs, they're going to have, they're going to be able to challenge anybody on the left-hand side for the next round, and could certainly take off any one of those teams in the top 6 right now. Of course, that top 6 could definitely change as we round out these last 2 to 3 weeks of the AAA.
Yeah, for sure. This format will be really exciting, just all in all, to see, especially playing out on 2 different tiers at the same time. The next couple weeks will be awesome as far as results go, to see how things lock in. So let's keep moving on now. Now that the round robin talk is over, we will head over to the XBL, who's got a ton of players this season. We still are at 18 players, so a few weeks to go in the XBL before we go to playoff talk. Things are going to be moving and shaking quite a bit still up here at 90 ego, and we are looking at ranks 16, 17, and 18 to start out. No movement here from any of the players. The quiet weeks from Squiggle Jones and the Toe Beans and Finite and the Miners. We saw Mythics and M. Bennings, though, pick up a few choice wins along the way to his 4-10 record as it stands right now.
Yeah, we saw the Tobin sweep the Mythics, so a big couple of W's there by Squiggle on Match of the Week last week. But yet, M. Benning's still holding strong at one spot in front of him here in the rankings. As you said, no movement, and Flash and Finite are in that arms race for the all-time XBL career wins. Finite's still looking to get number one from this season, but he's grinding out every inning. He's going to get there eventually.
Absolutely. It's going to be a big week for the Miners, who still, even though their record as it stands right now, winless, could put themselves in the mix for any sort of conversation if they, get on the horse and start winning this week, as I just alluded to. So will be interesting to see. And that is something interesting you bring up, that the Mythics did get swept by the Toe Beans, but now sit ahead of them in the power rankings as it stands. They've played more games, maybe a bit more of a showing from M betting so far in the XBL, especially coming up from the AAA. But Squiggle and the Toe Beans have played a really strong schedule so far, and are due, I think, to put on a show of their own. So next week, I would expect this lot to change up a little bit. We'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah, I mentioned to you before the show, as we get on into our next three spots here, it's been really tough to rank the guys outside the top 5 or 6 or so. All of them seem like they're really interchangeable, and really, like, from rankings 9 to 16 or so, it's just such a log jam of players where everybody's got real similar records. They're taking games off each other, and it's going to be a real dogfight for that 12 spot.
Absolutely, and that's the type of parity that you think about might bring you that. Finally, might bring us the 12 versus 13 one game playing in the XBL that we've all had our fingers crossed for such a long time. So maybe this season will be the season. I don't know. I don't want to jinx it, but we're all excited. I think we bring it up all the time. So
I've given up hope. I get so excited every season for it, and it never happens. So I'm hoping the year I finally give up will be the year it happens.
Yeah, let's hope Ox gets surprised as we look now at 13, 14, and 15 in the XBL. We see Flash take a small dip from rank 12 this week. He's got 2-8 record, just a split against the Burning Rivers, who are right behind him there at rank 14. Put in a bunch of games yesterday, looking actually pretty strong, but has a strange propensity to win one game and then get mercied the next. It's crazy if you follow the results so far of stoichiometry and the Burning Rivers. So something as far as storylines to look into as well. And then we have the Permatilt and the Full Tilt Flippers got swept by the Pandas this week, dipping from ranks 12 to rank 15, but at 5 and 11 could easily jump off.
Yeah, Permatilt took a couple tough losses, but he's shown he could beat anybody in this league, as has Burning Rivers. Stoichiometry, definitely somebody, like you said, has some interesting splits this season, and I actually think it's a lot of times been the other way around, Dwayne, getting mercy game 1 and finding a way to win game 2.
Right.
I could be wrong there, but as somebody who's actually spoke to them, newer to the PvP, high PvP setting, he's more of a franchise player, I think, coming into it. So it's really impressive to me to see him adjust and try, figure out things on the fly and still be able to win games against some of these really good players.
Yeah, winning his fair share indeed, and it's interesting, like you said, definitely more game 1s where he's taking the lumps, and then games 2 where he seems to adjusted. So come playoff time, Stoich might be a player that really gives somebody some trouble. So we'll see if he's in that conversation for that 12th seed or above. It's actually a player I've had my eye on, as things go for Rookie of the Year as well. So it's interesting as things develop in this XBL season.
Absolutely, a bunch of strong rookies again this season.
For sure, as we look at one here at rank number 10 in the form of Moon Kingdom and Pizza Volcano, looking at pretty strong at that 6 and 9 record, and followed by J Boops, tied for rank 11 this week with Speed Demon, who's finally starting to climb up the rankings a little bit. He had a really strong strength of schedule to start things out, and is now picking up his wins as he goes through the rest of his schedule, and is starting to tighten up those numbers a little bit.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, the Pandas are fearless, and despite starting off 0-8 or whatever it was, that do not take Speed Demon lightly. He can get you anytime, any day, as we actually are excited for that Dwayne versus Speed Demon matchup tomorrow night. So can't wait to see how that one plays out for both respective players there. And Boops, shout out to Boops. He took one off Luke Archer the other night. You always love to see the Mallards go down. And all three of these teams right here are really trying their best to get into the top 12.
Yeah, it's almost like when you play one series in a week and it's one that you split with Luke Archer. That's just a big statement right there, right in the middle of the board. So huge for Boops to see him get a nice win now that he's switched platforms and is starting to maybe get the ball rolling a little bit. We'll see if he can tighten things up. It's going to, like you said, everyone here wants to be in that conversation for the 12th seed or above. All of these players I think are going to be looking up the board to try and get deeper into the playoff seeding than that. So we'll see how it goes for them as we look at rank 7, 8, and 9. We have a tie at rank number 8 this week between Danson's Dragoons and Webb and the Ice Caps. And then we are seeing Wishbone ranked consecutively at number 7 for the second week in a row. So really nice job by him, looking good at 9 and 9.
Yeah, great job, Wishbone. We saw split with Webb, like you mentioned, and 2 weeks in a row now, coming in at 7th, just behind Sox, who we'll get to in a second. But a great job, firmly in the top 10 this season, it seems. Right next to, standing next to great company with Ted and Webb there, two strong opponents as well, and all three looking like playoff teams right now.
Yeah, for sure. All of these players have played extremely competitive games against players towards the top. Webb looking to up that strength of schedule a little bit, but 500 to start off your season is never anything to shake at, especially in the XBL. That's almost usually about half as many wins as you're going to need to get into the playoffs for sure. So he's well on his way. And then Ted and Wishbone, respectively, in the top 5 in strength of schedule, have gone after some of the big dogs, played close games, might have lost them, but have shown that they're going to stay in it. And then as they move through the rest of their schedule, definitely going to be forces to be reckoned with for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Move on up to ranks 4, 5, and 6. No movement here from these 3 players as well. GTM and the Sentinels got a humongous split versus Lazy and the Blackbirds yesterday. That was probably the biggest result of the day as far as I was concerned, looking up and down things. Anytime you take a game off Lazy, that's something that people notice, and that one quietly got slid in there. So congratulations to GTM, nice split. But regular season game only matters so much. And then we got Luke Archer there at rank number 5, 12 and 6, looking good. Picked up 3 wins this week, looking to continue to build and push for that top 4 as he swept GTM early on. And then we have myself there at rank number 6 for 5 in 1 week and looking for more.
Yeah, great week for the Pine Sox, 5 and 1. That's strong. And a big shout out, like you said, to GTM taking a game off the top dog, Lazy. They had a crazy ending, it looked like, to that game too. It was 1-1 going into the 9th inning. Big top of the 9th by GTM to come away with the victory. So awesome job by them. And it is a regular season win, but for somebody who hasn't ever beaten a guy like Lazy or Ashnod, or especially one of those 2 players, to beat them for the first time, that's a real weight off your shoulders, I've got to imagine, and also something that GTM can look to as we go into the playoffs is like a real confidence booster for him as he tries to make it deeper in the playoffs than they ever have before.
Yeah, absolutely. That's, GTM, the type of player is real studious as well. Definitely going to be, holding on to that game tape, I'm sure, and trying to figure out, those strengths and weaknesses that really were able to get him that big win. And, like you said, going into the playoffs, that's huge. Not only for confidence, but it's basically scouting. If you can do it one time, you can do it
Right.
again. You can do it, and then you can do it again, and then you have to do it a 3rd time, usually, maybe even a 4th time. But you can do
Right.
it. I'm one of the people that always say that. You can do it. I'm always talking about playing against the Dot Gang, whatever it is. Playing against the best. Period. You just have to have that confidence, because if you do it one time, you can do it again. So it'll be interesting to see how all of these players shake out, and all the players above them that we're alluding to right now fight in the top half of the playoffs this season. Everybody's going to be eager to get a piece of the pie as we look at run 2 and 3 this week. No changes here as we see, just the 3 big dogs putting up humongous offensive numbers, and then, pitching their fair share as well, especially on Weaver's end and Lazy. They're really shutting down the hitters on the mound, as well as putting up runs at the plate to make their money. And then Ashnon, his offense is just so overwhelming. I'm not sure what you can do to stop that 4-5 with the power that he has.
Yeah, Ash putting on a show yet again. What's new here in the XBL? But yeah, like you said, not a lot of movement here in this. Really, the whole top six, top seven stayed exactly the same in week 4 as it was in week 3. Um, just a great job all around on the behind the plate and on the mound by Lazy and Weaver, like you said. And it'll be interesting to see the Lazy versus Ashnod matchup that still looms.
Yeah, that's, the World Series rematch from season 8, World Series rematch from season 9. These two players have not played each other since that game 7 of season 9's World Series that, was the most heavily watched, one of the biggest games in XBL history. We saw Lazy take it away. Ashnod snubbed there at the time, for the second time, and he's still hungry, looking for more. So they're going to face off in the regular season, and who knows? I mean, it's not something we've talked about yet, but if, we talk about all the players with potential to get far in this league, this season especially. But if we get the rematch in the World Series between these two, that's gonna be a big one. I don't know how big that might become.
Well, and that's a great point, but also, Dwayne, I forgot to mention Weaver and Ashnod's last season's World Series matchup yet to play this season as well. And that's a potential. Two of these three teams you would think have to meet if everything plays out on paper, they're going to meet in the semifinals and then potentially the World Series. So, one of these guys is going to have to knock out the other on the way to the championship. So just a lot of interesting ways this can go down, but I certainly look forward to seeing all three of them play against each other.
Absolutely, and as we stated, the players on the outside looking in at 4, 5, and 6, looking to be a part of that conversation, looking to shake up that bracket. So huge in the XBL, the results to come, and then what the bracket may shape up to follow, and then the matchups that we'll have in there. It's an exciting time as the season develops. We were talking AA, AAA playoffs, and a little bit of XBL as well. So I don't know,
We're getting
something about
close,
season
man.
12 feels a little bit larger than life, and it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it feels special if there's a little bit of a buzz around this season. I like it, and especially with the new added formats and some of these big name players coming back into the league. You love to see it, and it's definitely building some anticipation, some excitement here for the playoffs in all three leagues.
For sure. So with all that said about playoffs and rankings and standings and things like that, we're going to go ahead into a couple of stat storyline highlights for you guys. As always, kindly highlighted by Wishbone. Something exciting here to start us off is the Weaver for Prez poised for a major milestone. In the midst of all the action, in the midst of Weaver's 5th XBL season, he's currently sitting at 99 career wins, ranking 9th all time and 6th among active players. He also would be the second player on the exclusively on the PC platform to reach 100 wins, behind Ashnod, should he get there. So the players ahead of him right now, as it stands: Finite Provision with 142, the Flash with 140, myself and J Boops tied with 128, and Ash with 122. So Weaver 1 win away from the 100 club, and you'd have to think that's coming soon for him. So big pre-congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. Congrats to Weaver, and pre-congratulations, like you said, when you do eventually get that big number 100. And as you trying to work your way into the top 5 here among active players anyway. And Ashnod's certainly somebody working their way up that list quickly as well.
Yeah, it's amazing to see the pace at which Ashnod has racked up the numbers. 500 home runs and well over 100 wins. That's something that seems to come up as every time we bring up those counting stats. He's putting himself in the all-time conversation each and every time he takes the field. But here, Weaver putting himself in it as well. Already joined the Hall of Fame, and now putting an exclusive stamp in his book to get 100 wins. That'll be exciting for him.
Yeah, absolutely, and congrats again to all those players. Definitely a great company to be a part of, and thank you, Wishbone, as always. And we get into our next blurb here. Step aside, Ted. There's a new Split King in town. Last season, as everyone I'm sure remembers, Ted Danson was the Split King really a lot of his seasons in the XBL. A lot of splits throughout the Dragoons' history. But 9 out of 15 series last season, and he's only had the 2 splits this season, Dwayne.
Yeah, 2 splits this season for him. Definitely sees him probably losing the throne as the split king. That's the mojo that maybe he's going to be happy to lose. Maybe he can,
Right? Yeah, it's
pick up a
probably something
couple.
he wants to.
Yeah,
Really.
he can try and pick up a couple consecutive wins along the way, but not to be not unnoted, it would be Jay Boops who is taking up that role this season. On the other hand, sitting at 4 splits with less than half his games currently played. Those 4 splits represent 25% or 1/4 of the league's total splits thus far. So pretty interesting to see, as Wishbone also highlights that splits overall are occurring pretty much the same rate as last season, with 27% of series last season ending in splits and 25% so far this season.
Yeah, and another person, like we mentioned earlier, along with Jay Boops, who's splitting a lot of their series. I don't know their exact amount of the splits they've had, but Stoichiometry getting a lot of big game 2 wins after taking those big game 1 lumps like we talked about. So him and Jay Boops both doing a good job of, racking up the splits, which, like we said, isn't necessarily something to be proud of, but it is, if you're losing game 1, it's definitely something to, be proud of and build momentum off of as you exit these type of series. So good job to those players, and keep it up as we enter the last phase of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And just before we get into the last thing, result hot across the board from Permitil in chat. He just split with J Boops. So
Wow.
yeah,
Hot off the press.
That is the split magic at its finest. If you've never experienced it, we're all feeling it now in this room. So
and again, like we talked about, Dwayne, it's a log jam there from like 10 to 15 or so in the rankings, and both those guys right in that mix coming out with a split, keeping it tough as always.
Yeah, for sure. When you're one of those teams, it always feels like, the split, you want that win, but you don't want that loss, and it's almost like nobody's helping anybody in that case. But huge to get wins in this league, no matter what. That's always the most important thing. So let's highlight the next thing that Wishbone has for us. It's an interesting one that we see. It's that older players hit fewer, but also give up fewer dingers or home runs in the XBL and the AAA and AA. It's as he highlights, across all 3 leagues this season, players aged 29 and younger average approximately 50% more home runs hit per 9 than those aged 30 and older, which, it's a young man's game. They're hitting a lot of dingers. But then you go on the flip side, and it's players aged 29 and younger also average 50% more home runs given up per 9 than those aged 30 and older. So a bit of a veteran craftiness for the older folks in the XBL, you'd have to say, I guess.
Yeah, shout out to us old folks, 30 and over. You gotta love that. This is just great stuff by Wishbone here, and it's not at all to me like surprising to see, but it's cool to see it on paper. Though us older, wiser folk, we might not be able to hit as good as you youngsters, Dwayne, but we got to make up for that on the mound and figure out how to stop you punks from hitting too many dingers.
Yeah, a little bit of get off my lawn action here on your weekly roundup. I dig it. I definitely love the highlight here from Wishbone as well. That's always the type of thing that we love to see here on the StatCast storylines. And yeah, something that we would love to see built upon more. I mean, it's always maybe assumed, that veteran craftiness is there, but now we know for sure that it's in the numbers. So shout out to Wish for pointing that out. Shout out to the old folks and the young folks in the XBL, everybody making it happen. It's always really exciting to have these stats. I mean, you guys playing make it possible to highlight these awesome and crazy stats like that. So thank you all
for
again
sure.
For that.
And a quick reminder here, Dwayne, for those of you who tune into the show or who listen at any point and have not filled out the demographic survey offered by Wishbone Spreadsheet, head over there and fill that out. That's great stuff to add to the database, and stuff that, as you can see, we do pay attention and pull from now and then. It's cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. These highlights have been one of the biggest parts of the weekly roundup as we've added them last season. So we'll keep trying to pull from there, and keep hitting that demographic survey. And it's amazing to see all the tools that we have to be able to compile all this type of stuff. It's a shout out to everybody involved. Let's head over to the plays of the week now, too. We are still not done yet, as this is one of our longer weekly roundup portions. We have...
Yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Alex. as we watch the
No,
play.
it's exciting to have all this content, but we are getting into the nitty gritty here as we wrap things up with our top plays. Always exciting to see.
Yeah, and this one is an over-the-shoulder dive from the match of the week last week between Dark Raider the Goat and Mystery Incorporated. Just a big dive from his shortstop Peter Lowe in a close game for a second out. Just the timing there to get that done was big for him in a game where could have gone either way at this point. Mist was having trouble getting the ball rolling, but he was starting to stack a few runners on base.
Yeah, that's typical rubber banding about to start happen there. If he lets another base runner on there late in this game, could have lead was definitely in jeopardy. But a great play by the Rocket shortstop.
For sure. As that's play number 5 from last week in week number 3, and we head up to play number 4. This is one from Ox, and it's actually for in favor of Rise and Fall here. You see Ox here hitting with a couple runners on base in a 1-out scenario and looking for something to hit. This is a big double play as Rise dives for this one, catches it out of the air, and the hit and run just burns Ox, gets him on the double play.
My bad, guys. I probably should have trimmed this clip up just a hair, but yeah, like Dwayne said, a great play from Rise and Fall to rob me in a big run scoring situation and preserve the small lead he was clinging to in this ball game. And great defense throughout the series that Rise played against me.
Yeah, he was on the plays of the week last week as well with a similar double play, diving and getting the out at the bases, albeit that one in the outfield, and huge, humongous dive in that one as well. So he's been having the defensive showing down in the AA this season. Let's head over to play number 3. This is one I submitted myself, and this was Corky Dawson on the run against Pizza Volcano. First batter of the game, almost gave up a solo shot, and instead pulled one back.
Orky, hell of a catch there. And yeah, this is a game you ended up sweeping Pizza, I think by 1 run both games. So obviously this was a huge play.
Yeah, that one was not. I felt like the sun was in my eyes, kind of thing. Like I didn't really have a full view of if I was even going to get anywhere near that ball. Just kind of prayed, and you can see by my reaction, I was just like, "Oh, wowza!" Pretty glad I caught that.
Yeah, it's a good way to start off a game.
For sure. And the only better way would be to hit a dinger on the other side, but got the defense there. As we head up to number 2, this is a similar play. This is submitted by Blue Panther in his onslaught yesterday of games, getting them in there and getting a lot of good plays submitted. This one ripped into the left center field gap, and just look at the ground covered here, and then he jumps for this, doesn't dive, jumps for it, and makes the grab. I think that it's at least hitting the wall out there in Colonial. And the ground cover just is what really impressed me about this one. That was just great play.
Yeah, home of the Mallards here in Colonial, and this ball might have got out of here, Dwayne. I think, no, maybe it stays in here, but like you said, a great play to jump. I don't know that the Panther outfielder gets there without jumping, or, if it was a ball he dove for, you would have really had to be timing up the dive perfectly there. It's just a great play of athleticism.
For sure. Great job by Blue Panther just to get that done, and thank him for all the submissions to pick from this season, or for this week. And we head over to our number 1 play of the week. This one a bit extended. This is something that's a rarity and not often recorded as well. So shout out to Weaver for getting it done. Sorry for Wishbone for being on the other end of it. But this is an immaculate inning here in the XBL by Weaver. I mean, you don't have to watch it pitch for pitch either way. We're just going to highlight the fact that, it occurred 9 pitches, 3 strikeouts. And, Weaver coming fresh off of Von Asen and in his, end of championship last season. He's coming into season 12 here, still pitching just as well and getting it done.
Yeah, lights out pitching performance here, and this is actually one of the most sought after, one of the tougher achievements you can get in Super Mega franchise is to get the immaculate inning, whether it's against PvP or the AI. It's something that's not easy to do. For anyone not familiar, that's 9 pitches, 9 strikes, 3 strikeouts, obviously. So pretty crazy to do. As you see right there, that changeup in the dirt, one of the only pitches he didn't actually throw inside the zone.
Yeah, and also there's a little bit of a curveball in there that didn't exactly cooperate as far as placement and ended up, being a strike as well. So, Metalhead and Super Mega Baseball having their hand in it where Weaver had to overcome a little bit of adversity to get it done. But congratulations to him, nice play. And thanks everybody for the submissions this week. Definitely need some more. I know we were working on a short week in Weekly Roundup as well, so not as much to pick from, but still some great plays to really get through.
Yeah, and keep submitting those non-highlights as well. See those, and maybe we can put together a little.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to
end of the season. Yeah,
we're going to compile those up. Maybe a little bit more formal this season. We'll do something funny or exciting with those. I was thinking of bringing those into the fold a little bit more, as we have seen some really great not highlight reel plays submitted this season.
Yeah, we got to get the Curb Your Enthusiasm soundtrack in the background for some of those not top plays or something. But yeah, thanks for the submission, guys. And as always, keep submitting those. We love to keep on showing you 5 great plays or more every week here in the roundup. And it's been another fun week here with you, Dwayne. Another great roundup.
Absolutely, Ox. I really appreciate you being here with me. I really appreciate everybody submitting, and everybody just get those games in. Keep submitting your plays, and get ready for Match of the Week tomorrow night. We have an exciting one starting us off between Deck and Black Coffee at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time for the AAA. And then we have myself and Speed Demon, Dwayne versus Speed Demon, 9 p.m. Eastern time as well, following that up. So Monday night Match of the Week will be exciting. Thank you again, Ox, for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you as always for helping with all the the league PSAs too that we dropped during these things, and it was a great roundup here tonight to do with you, and I definitely tenfold thank you very much.
Yeah, same to you, and same to Wishbone as well for all the work you guys do and put into this. But good luck to you tomorrow night. A lot of new guys on the Match of the Week slate tomorrow, but the one veteran, Big Dwayne, trying to get 2 more wins.
Yeah, we'll see how that all pans out. I hope you guys are all here with us, and I thank you all for joining us here tonight on Weekly Roundup. All kinds of fun content to get through, and we'll have more for you next week. So stick around in our Discord if you haven't already joined it, and just follow all the links to the games, all the links on our YouTube, all the things that there are to follow XBL, and have a safe and pleasant week and evening, everybody. Thank you all for joining us.
Later, guys.